Welcome to Wii Vault, a series on this channel where I take a look back at old Wii games, see if they're good, if they hold up, and if they should come back today. Today's guest, Ben 10 Alien Force, the video game, obviously. This is the video game counterpart for the Ben 10 television show, allowing you to play as the teenage version of Ben 10 with his new Omnitrix, as well as Gwen and Kevin in certain sections, giving you full control of the Omnitrix from Ben 10, fully unleashing 10 different aliens. Right? This game was released October 28th, 2008, released obviously to the Wii, as well as the PlayStation 2, PSP, and the Nintendo DS. This game was developed by Monkey Bars for the Wii, PlayStation 2, PSP versions, and then First Playable Productions for the DS version. All of this being published by D3. So, was this game good? Do I think it should come back? Should it come back in this format? Did it hold up at all while I was playing it? Let's find out. This game takes place as Ben is already into his second stint as the wielder of the Trix. Those are for kids. That abbreviation doesn't really work. But this game has its own self-contained story told through 8 different chapters. So let's get into them. Stage 1, Nightmare on the Pier. We start the game off with Ben, Gwen, and Kevin all headed to the pier for a nice fun trip when Kevin's alien detection alarm goes off. And then we see Forever Knights speeding past the gang on their way to said tech. This causes Ben to jump out of the car and go hero mode and chase after them. This is where the gameplay starts, which I'll dive into much deeper later on in the video. But I did want to point out that the game starts off with just 2 playable aliens. Swampfire and Big Chill. Now in the show, Ben starts off with 10, starts to unlock more. It's a video game, different format. I'm okay with the game starting off with 2 as you work your way to the full 10. Right? 10 aliens, right? But Ben works his way through all the Forever Knights and then meets a plumber named Gorvin, a Tetramite, the forearms alien from the original series of Ben 10. He claims that he's going after tech that the Hybrid is trying to get their hands on and getting it before they can. This guy is super suspicious, but the only one who picks up on that at all is Kevin. The other two, Ben and Gwen, not only don't believe Kevin, they just are outright dismissive of him entirely, a little mean to him, because he's not trusting this random plumber they met. Yikes. And at the end of this stage, Spider Monkey is unlocked. Stage an alien? Makes sense to me. But now we move on to Stage 2. The Forest Medieval. So, the team decides to now work with Gorvin, and Gorvin sends them out on these different missions to retrieve this alien tech. Starting off with a castle in the forest, run by the Forever Knights, who we saw earlier. Here, we see Ben 10 with 3 aliens, work his way on the outside of the castle here in the woods, clearing the Forever Knights until he gets to the entrance, and realizes due to the fortress's defenses, he cannot get through the gate. So then we swap over to playing as Kevin, as Kevin is able to absorb the material that the Forever Knights suits are made out of and is able to walk through the defenses. Here, Kevin clears out the inside of the castle, destroying the defenses, allowing Ben to then get in. Ben gets in, works his way through the bit of the castle, and then finds the alien tech part that they're looking for, guarded by a giant robo-dragon. Obviously, Ben defeats it, gets the alien tech part, and brings it back to Gorvin. Now, this happens a lot, so I'm just going to mention it here, maybe a little bit later on with some very specific stuff, but the cutscenes in this game, especially ending a stage to, like, the cutscene, it's so abrupt, and it just feels like it skips over some of the stuff. Now, it's stuff that you can just assume is going to happen, like Ben getting the actual alien part. Like, you never see, like, it's just, the cut's abrupt from him just walking up to it to having it in the lair, giving it to Gorvin. just straight cut from it. It's a little jarring at first. You kind of get used to it, but it's still something I wanted to point out. But when Gorvin sees this piece of tech, he gets it rudely and just abruptly leaves. Somehow Kevin is still the only one suspicious. This is a bad look for Ben and Gwen. But now, Jet Ray's unlocked. 3 is now 4. Hey, we're moving. They're moving. And we're moving to Stage 3, Bombs Away. Gorvin sends the team to this weapons facility testing area where there's another piece of tech. Kevin is getting kind of hurt and upset by Gwen and Ben not believing him, so he stays in the car while the two of them can go on and run Gorvin's errands for him. So first, Ben starts working his way through the testing facility fighting the pickaxe aliens. I wonder who the boss in this stage is going to be. But he works his way through. He finds a couple obstacles like silos open or just different gates blocking his path that then causes him to switch over and play as Gwen when she's in like this control bunker as she works her way through these pickaxe aliens to get to controls to allow Ben to move forward. Ben eventually moves forward enough and finds the tech piece and Volcanus. Fucking shocking. Fights Volcanus, beats up Volcanus, gets the tech piece, dips back, gives it to Gorvin, who does the same thing he did earlier. Yoink and skedaddle. And Kevin's going on his tirade again about why he doesn't trust him. This time, Gwen and Ben finally start to think something is up. So, when Gorvin sends the team on their next mission, Ben tells Gwen and Kevin to both stay back. Look for clues about what's going on with Gorvin. Try to get into Grandpa Max's computer and see what's going on. While Ben goes to retrieve that alien tech part. There's no new alien unlocked. We needed to unlock 1 per stage if we were going to get all 10. Weird. We'll see what's going on with that as we move on to Stage 4, A Few Bad Eggs. So, Ben goes after this tech piece, stumbling into a hybrid hatchery, which he blows up, gets the tech piece, and we get the one lone cutscene transformation of Ben turning into an alien. In this instance, I think it's Jet Ray. It's just out of place compared to all the other cutscenes. This is the only one where we get that full show transformation. And this cutscene, it's just random because the level of effort they put into it is like a huge spike when compared to all the other cutscenes. It's cool, kind of. It looks meh. It looks kind of meh. But it's, it's just, it feels weird seeing that level of effort when it's not shown anywhere else in any of the other cutscenes. That's all I'm trying to get at. But Ben comes back to the base just to find that Gwen and Kevin have found nothing. The Grandpa Max's computer is locked. But Ben just walks up and just guesses the password. Gwen and Kevin stayed back for nothing. Gorvin's still around the base. So they're not like being too secretive, but there they are in the computer room. Ben guesses the password. They play a message from Uncle Max. Grandpa Max. They play a message from Grandpa Max where he says Gorvin is a plumber that's gone rogue, is stealing this alien tech and selling it to the hybrid, not trying to keep it out of their hands. This obviously enrages the team, as they now realize that they have been doing the bidding for their greatest enemy during Alien Force. As Ben and Gwen are getting very upset, they look back. Kevin heard all he needed. He is already gone, and he went to chase after Gorvin. We then see Kevin, while looking for Gorvin, get attacked by xenocytes that were released by Gorvin, and that leads us to Stage 5, Plumber Trouble. Ben then goes after Kevin, trying to find him, but he is greeted by DNA-alien Kevin. A unique design. Kind of. It was seen in this video game, but not in the show. That's all I meant. It's not unique from how DNA-aliens look, but seeing Kevin in this form is unique to this, which was nice to see. But they have a little tussle. Ben beats him, heals him with the Omnitrix in another cutscene, and continues to look for Gorvin. where he eventually does find him. Gorvin just kind of evil laughs and monologues a little bit, and they get into a fight. Ben wins, shockingly, and Gorvin is thrown into a containment cell off screen. These cutscene cuts are a little like some stuff I want to see. Some stuff I want to see. Him in the holding cell, maybe more in a more exchange post fight between the two would have been cool to see. We don't get that. We move on. As he gets back to the top layer, they realize that they have this huge like sub energy power core that produces an immense amount of power, and they're just thankful they did not let it get into the hands of the Highbreed. Oh, shit. Highbreed Commander has broken in, stolen the energy core, and has dipped. But due to the immense amount of power that energy core gives off, Gwen is able to track it and sees that it's in an area with 3 super weather towers, unlike anything the team has seen before, and it's estimated that it could freeze the entire coast. So, the team sets out to destroy the towers. Humongosaur is unlocked. Hey, 5 aliens? We're halfway there. I don't... 5? There's like 3 stages left. I don't know how we're getting the full 10. But hey, stage 6, Royal Rumble. So the team drives up to a cornfield, and then separates to try and get to the weather towers. Ben fights his way through DNaliens, including Pyronites and Vulpamancer variants of DNaliens, which I kind of love to see this addition of seeing how these like Xenocytes affect other alien species. And it's how you would expect it to, but actually finally seeing it was really cool. I did like that this game's edition of that. But Ben then eventually stumbles onto the Highbreed command ship. And it's a part of this circuit with the other 3 weather towers, Ben believing that if he can remove the ship from the circuit, the other towers won't be able to start. No alien unlocked. But stage 7, running on autopilot. Ben enters the ship, works his way up all through the ship till he gets to the command room, where the command panels to eject the ship are on the ceiling, and there's an anti-gravity switch there. But before he can do anything easily and smoothly, the Highbreed Commander jumps in and interrupts him. But Ben kind of beats the Highbreed Commander. I'll explain why I said kind of when I talk about more of the gameplay in depth. But Ben activates the ship's autopilot. And then the Highbreed Commander begins to laugh at him, telling him that the ship leaving does not stop the weather towers. It begins the sequence to activate them when the ship is removed. So, Highbreed Commander laughs at him, lets the ship go off, and he throws Ben 10 out of the ship. No aliens unlocked before the final stage. What do we do? 5? Okay, maybe we get the 5 as like a post-game thing, extra modes to unlock, different secrets maybe I missed. But we're running 5 into the final fight. Into the final into the final stage here. Stage 8, a change in the weather. So, the team starts their attack on the towers. First, playing as Kevin, and then Gwen taking out the tower's defenses, allowing Ben to actually get to the towers. Then, Ben goes Humongosaur, Super Humongosaur, to then destroy said towers in, once again, very jarring cutscenes from gameplay. Like, you get up to the top, it cuts to him jumping off and the tower falling down. What did he really do to get it? Show me a little bit more, please. But he takes down each tower one at a time, ultimately ending the game. It ending with the team walking away, saving the day. But the camera then pans to a flickering computer monitor with an arch, teasing something that does happen in the show, but not in another game. And yeah, that's it for the game. There's no new alien unlocked. We needed to unlock 1 per stage if we were going to get all 10. Weird. We'll see what's going on with that. No alien unlocked. No aliens unlocked before the final stage. What do we do? 5? You really can only play as 5 aliens in this game. It's Ben 10. 5? Whose decision was that? I will talk about it, I think, maybe a little more in the gameplay. Just going to make it crystal abundantly clear in case I wasn't already. I am displeased with the fact that you can only play as 5 aliens in a Ben... What was that? A Ben 10 game. Am I close? Was that... What did you see when I got that close? Let me not do that again. But anyways, that's the story for the game. So, how good do I think the story is? It is a simple story that manages to fit in all of like the major factions that Ben 10 fights in Alien Force with the Forever Knights, the Pickaxe Alien / Volcanus, and obviously the Hybrid. Starting off with Gorvin kind of acting as the main villain, and then transitioning into the Hybrid Commander for the second half. Yuri Lowenthal-led game with different main villains for the first half and the second half. It feels a little familiar. I like it. I kind of like that structure. It's not every game should be that structure. Sometimes you want this overarching for the whole game big bad, but I like the structure. It's a storyline that fits perfectly well within the show, and it really does feel like just like a multi-episode arc in Ben 10 Alien Force. And it does feel like it's the same continuity as the show. But I will say the Gorvin reveal was like super obvious and like a little underwhelming with the reveal. But it's just weird because I don't know how surprising it's supposed to be. I feel like the game, I don't know, like with Ben and Gwen not believing Kevin, but Kevin being so vocal about his distrust of Gorvin, is the thing just that, oh, Kevin was right? Like, is that what the intriguing thing they're doing with it is? Because it was just like, yeah, this guy's obviously fucking evil. Why are we kind of dancing around this? Why are Gwen and Ben trusting them to start? And like the betrayal of like, oh, we were helping our enemy get these alien tech pieces, it would hit harder like if it was a shocking reveal, but instead it's just like, yeah, obviously, yes, you guys are dumb. Kevin was the only one on top of shit. So just, it wasn't trying to hide it, but I don't think it did anything interesting with the fact that it was obvious. So it's just like, I don't know, it was like a weird in-between of like, it's going to be a reveal, oh, but you should know it. So I don't know what it was doing. I don't know. So I am going to ding it for that. So overall, the story for Ben 10 Alien Force, the video game, is going to get a 7 out of 10. Felt like a multi-episode arc from the show, which is something I would want a tie-in video game to feel like, honestly. Kind of showcased everything in the show. It showcased some aliens, the different factions, being able to play as Gwen and Kevin, in terms of just seeing everything that the show could have to offer, was a nice touch. In concept. Was it that in execution? I'll talk about that later. With the biggest negative probably being like the Gorvin reveal, the fact that it didn't push the boundary on any of the characters, really. Like, I guess it challenged the relationship between Kevin and Gwen and Ben, but not well. So no push, like nothing there. But overall, a pretty good story. So this game does a good job of looking like the show. Ben and his aliens look just like their TV show counterparts. Kevin looks like himself. Maybe they could have done a better job with like his absorbed forms and how they looked in the game. I guess they look like how they do in the show. Maybe this is a critique of the show design as well, but it's just bland. Each villain that Ben fights also like a 1-for-1 of how they did in the show. So everybody looked really good for like what you're expecting. Like, you'll notice there's a name I left out. Gwen. Gwen looks like weird. Is it along her neck? Is it the shape of her head? I can't quite put my finger on it. but she looks more like an older version of Candace from Phineas and Ferb. You know what I'm saying? It's just how I feel. Just a real fumble of the character. Then for the original characters of this game, Gorvin looks great. Ben is supposed to be the peak form of all these different alien species. So to see a non-peak form of an alien that Ben has been, and I know Tetramites have, I might be saying that wrong, but they've gotten a decent shine in terms, Ben's been to their planet, of just seeing what different forms of them look like, but I think this might have been like the first time we really saw it, at least a real, not peak, a little out of shape version of one of his aliens in Gorvin. So that was cool to see. And then there's Dean alien Kevin, which was cool to see, like I mentioned earlier, but it looks like how he should. We see Dean aliens and what they do to humans and some of the in-between forms of as they take over. So while it looks exactly like how you imagined, that's a good thing. It should follow the established rules and the aesthetics that we've seen before with the xenocytes and the Dean aliens and even Kevin. Like, he looks how he should. And I like them doing that. And then for level design. Most are interesting enough backgrounds for these linear stages with enough variety. Piers, forest, castles, testing facilities, inside of a spaceship, underground hatchery, just a lot of these different environments to not make it feel stagnant as you're playing through. Now, variety of how everything looks isn't everything, but they still look, they do genuinely look good enough to pass, I guess I would say, for how this game has been. So with the variety and the just meeting the necessity to be considered decent level looking, to have like decent enough aesthetics to like be interesting enough to look at least for one stage, was pretty good. Not mind-blowing, but good enough. And then finally, the voice performances. So everybody in this game is voiced by the same voice actor in the TV show. Everybody's the same here. So they do sound just like them, but not only that, I think they put as much effort into the performances here as maybe they did in the TV show, leading to some really good voice performances. Everyone sounds just like how they should. They sound, obviously it's the same voice because it's the same voice actor, but the care that they would have, where they would focus on different things, just the heart that you would feel behind different lines and how they would act. It's all great. The voice performances were genuinely really good here. And then finally, the music for this game, it was fine. It felt like it was the show's music. It felt like it was the same style. I'll just say it never felt like it added really much to the stage besides filling up an audio void that the game would have had otherwise. But at the same time, it didn't detract from it either. So just kind of a neutral. So with everything being evaluated, I'm going to give the arts for this game another 7 out of 10. Looks and feels like the show with genuinely good voice performances. But kind of other than that, it doesn't actually like excel at anything. Now let's take a look at the gameplay, starting off with the foundation of it, the controls / the combat. So the controls for this game are as follows. Move, use the joystick. A, light attack. B, heavy attack. Down on the D-pad for special attacks, usually ranged in this game. Z to jump, C to block, left and right on the D-pad to cycle through different aliens, and then up on the D-pad to transform. And then there's combos that allow you to really push the limits of what these aliens can do in combat, which you unlock after gaining a certain amount of experience through the game. And honestly, I loved the combo system of this game, where the later combos unlocked are comboing off combos, allowing for absolute explosions of power. So the actual combat, while not complex, is fun. Now, the enemies in this game don't really affect how you play in any way, which I don't mind, but is something that I felt, would be worthy of note. You are just kind of running around, spanning these combos on waves of enemies until they're all gone, so you can move forward. Then it's really hard to die in this game, because anytime you transform, you're fully healed. When you're Ben, you have low health, you transform into an alien, you're fully healed. When you're an alien, you get low on health, you transform back to Ben, he's fully healed again. He doesn't have whatever health he had when he transformed. So, if you get beat as an alien, you just turn into Ben, kind of run around for like genuinely 5 seconds dodging attacks, and then just transform again, fully heal up, get back into the fight. It's fucking hard to die in this game. Falling off the stage is probably the only real way I died. Or like getting hit by certain obstacles in like more traversal areas, like puzzles almost. Those could kill you, I think, but no combat is getting to you. So playing as Ben and the Aliens is pretty fun and easy, which is very important. If this didn't work, the game wouldn't have worked. The absolute necessity, the foundation, the backbone of this game, playing as Ben 10, they did a great job on. I had fun playing as Ben. But since there's only 5 aliens, which I think I would have been okay with a couple, like, there being some duplicate style aliens in combat just to have the 10. Like, if 2 aliens fought pretty much the same way, I would have been, because honestly, they kind of already do in terms of how it feels to play them. You're like, I'm light attack and I'm heavy attack, and I'm just mashing together these combos. There's nothing crazy different really in terms of how it feels between these aliens. Besides like maybe Humongosaur because of how big he is. That one felt kind of different at times, but it's not this unique experience with each alien enough. They all do feel different, but not enough to warrant only having the 5. It's like, give me the 10. If it was grouped off that there is just this 5 styles and like 2 per, I would have preferred that. It meant like tremendously more. But that's not what they did. But like I said, since there's only 5 aliens, I'm going to rank them 1 through 5 and see what the best one was in the game. This is also where I'm going to mention their traversal abilities that each alien has like outside of combat. That allows you to move forward in the game. Starting off with number 5, the worst alien in Ben 10 Alien Force, the video game, was Spider Monkey. This alien should only be used for traversal. Combat-wise, this alien sucks. Enemies usually are in groups in this game, and he has, without a doubt, the worst AoE attacks by far. And he's not even good when it really is just one enemy left and you take him on. So just a complete waste in combat. But could be the best traversal alien. But the traversal aspect is just used so much significantly less. So much and significantly. I'm adding the same exact type of multiplier in the sentence just to let you know how smaller it is than combat. But he's really good because he has this wall climb ability. That's his signature traversal ability, to wall climb. But also, one of the most annoying parts in this game was a wall crawl section. Fuck. Grab. Off the whole fucking thing. How? You have to give me a window to be in. I am actually very lost. There's like, hello? What the fuck? I got to the top just to not be able to go anywhere? Come on, Spider Monkey, speed the fuck up! Oh my god. Fuck! No! And there's no, like, rest point. There's no save point. There's no nothing. I really want to, like, bite my fucking finger off. This is fucking terrible. Oh, man. This better be the save point. I better save right here. I do not want to do that again. So what his biggest bonus kind of hindered by that. And then also he might be the best to control while jumping. He jumps pretty high. It's easier to land with him, direct his landing than some of the other aliens, and seeing where he's going to land. But I was playing this game trying to cycle through each alien to, really get a feel for all of them I was playing. Eventually, I cut him out of the rotation altogether. I couldn't do it. That should say enough. He's number 5. Number 4. I think this is going to be a shocking one. And I could see some real debate between like 4 and 3. Honestly, 4 through 2, I could understand having this opinion, but I do feel pretty set here. Humongousaur is the number 4 alien in Ben 10 Alien Force, the video game. And now this might be surprising since Humongousaur is one of Ben's most powerful aliens, one of his go-tos, in combat especially, which I just said was important. And he can deal a lot of damage really fast. He actually has some solid AoE attacks just because of how big he is, the shock waves that some of his stuff gives off. But the problem is he's so big and slow. His hitbox is huge. His health can get whittled down very, very fast. Which, while, it doesn't really put me at risk of dying, because, like I said, almost impossible to die, it is just annoying. It's really annoying, actually. So that was a big hindrance. But like I said, he deals damage really fast as well, but he just takes it really fast as well. Glass cannon, through and through, just a little disappointing. And his traversal is used like twice in this game. It's just break a big thing right in front of him so he can move forward. Pretty simple. It's used twice, so it doesn't really matter. That leaves us with number 3, Big Chill. Big Chill maybe has the most used traversal signature, where he kind of glides on these like wind currents or air drafts. Nothing crazy and like overly fun to do, but due to its high usage, he's got to get some points for it. And then also he has the best early combo with his I think it was his AB combo with his Ice Mace, which was a quick go-to for me early on in the game. But its later game combos are really disappointing, like the Ice Shoes one. But it's one of the first 2 aliens you play as, so a great early combo really does help it here stay out of the bottom 2. And its needed traversal is going to land it at number 3. Number 2, Jet Ray. Jet Ray has the best single combo in this game, where he flies up into the sky and just does this barrage onto the ground. It is the best AoE combo in the game, which makes it the best combo in the game because that is by far more important than any targeted attack. I mean, it just lets you sneeze through waves of enemies. And it really is what's hard carrying Jet Ray to number 2, because up until that point, its combos were kind of lacking. They were okay. They were better than Spider Monkeys, which isn't saying much, but they weren't that good. But then he gets the best one in the game. It carries him up to number 2, and his traversal was just like jetting across like a chasm or a hole that he needed to get over. That was all his traversal was, but you have the best combo. Like, I was like, okay, this is the perfect time for Jet Ray. I was spamming Jet Ray for a while. He was heavy usage just because of one combo. That's all it takes. That also should give you a window in how the combat was in this game. But yes, it lands him at number 2. And then number 1, easily, Swamp Fire. He has the best combos in this game by far. His spike attack, his vine thorn into the ground attack was the best combo at getting rid of one specific target. If you needed to target hit somebody, like one guy in particular that was, kind of fucking you up, that was his. So he had the best, focused combo. And then for the AoE ones, he probably had 2 through 4 in terms of if I was ranking the best. Jet Ray had 1. The rest of that list was like Swamp Fires. When I needed to do damage in this game, Swamp Fire was the go-to alien for sure. He was the safety net in this game. His fireball, his ground out of the ground punch, and then his gas into explosion. Perfect. And then his traversal ability was genuinely also used like twice in the cornfield stage of just burning a hay barrel in front of him. So that didn't factor in, but combat is so significantly more important. He was number 1 very easily. But now that's everything with Ben and his sections, which is like 80% of the game. But how are the non-Ben sections? The Gwen and Kevin parts. So playing as Gwendolyn kind of just feels like playing as a watered-down version of one of Ben's aliens. She has a shield ability that she kind of glows pink, is completely invulnerable. It runs out, she's vulnerable. pretty easy. It recharges just naturally. You don't need anything special. She has some nice range attacks. I think she does have combos, but it's not as listed out as the other aliens. But I know they're there. So it was fine, but obviously I'd rather still just keep playing as Ben. But seeing it was fine. I get the idea of it. Had no problem with it, really. They did a decent enough job with it. You cannot say the same for playing as Kevin. So Kevin's sections had these absorbable materials. 3. Wood, which was the worst, stone, which was the middle, and then metal, which was the best to be. So he would absorb them and would be invulnerable while he had them. Damages would just like tick away at how long he would have it up. And it also boosted all of his attacks to make them even usable. So what this led to was you just having to camp by these material parts when you played as Kevin until the enemies were gone. So not much mobility granted when playing as Kevin, which was annoying. It left it feeling more tedious and boring than fun. So you always need them there. But there's one section, one little part where there is not an absorbable material. And I saw it coming, so this last playthrough, I didn't let it get rage-inducing. First time I played it, I know I got pissed. But I knew it was coming, so once I got to it, I tried a couple times without it, and I just realized, hey, I can't do this. So I had to drop the difficulty. I always play these games on the hardest difficulty when I make these Wii Vaults. Had to drop to the easiest difficulty, clear that section, brought it back up. But it is just... It's a necessity for Kevin to have those there. Every single section needs at least one of them. That one didn't have any. That was a terrible decision or level design or whoever's fault it was. They did a bad job. Playing as Kevin and all together, not fun. Bad decision. But that is pretty much all for like the real, like the core gameplay of it. So finally for this segment, I'm very quickly going to go over each boss fight. All right, so there's 5 boss fights in this game, starting off with the Forever Knight Robo Dragon. The dragon is a great first boss, I think, with fire breathing, claw swinging, and these flying attack stages that he cycles through. You essentially just have to stand out of his way while he finishes his animation, then you hit him. Pretty simple. You just keep doing that till he's dead. But it is a good first boss for a game. Then the Volcanus fight. There's bombs all over this stage that you can blow up on Volcanus, or you can just dodge his charge attacks and then go in and hit him until he's defeated. This fight wasn't bad, but this fight and this stage as a whole are probably the most forgettable thing in this game. Then, the Infected Kevin fight. The Infected Kevin fight actually works the same way as playing as Kevin, like how he operates is there's 3 elements are in the stage. He's invulnerable when he has them. You can whittle him down, then start hitting him. But you can also just break the materials so he doesn't have anything to absorb. So what this does is you just kind of quickly run through, break the 3 materials, and then you can just fucking wail on Kevin, and he's gone pretty quickly. So this is a kind of an underwhelming boss fight when you have like 2 heroes on the same side fighting each other. You kind of want those to be epic. This was easy. Whittled away. Nice idea. I'm glad that the guy that you're fighting against when they're playable is operating under the same rules when you fight him as he operates in when you play him. That's nice. So overall, I'm going to be positive on this fight just because of that continuity, I guess. This might be the right word. But yeah, I like the Kevin fight. But it was an easy one. A little underwhelming in that regard. But overall, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Then there's Gorvin, and Gorvin's gimmick is that he has a rejuvenator that heals him during the fight, which you can just break whenever he gets in there. He has some good rush attacks that actually, he would get me. He would shit me a little bit. I'd get a little mad, but I want to be a little mad in a boss fight, so I kind of liked that. It made it a little difficult, maybe the most difficult fight in this game now that I'm sitting here really thinking about it. But that's pretty much it. You kind of dodge his attacks, hit him, break his rejuvenator so he doesn't heal or heal too much, and just keep cycling through that until he's defeated. This would have been a good boss fight if it was anybody else, but Gorvin was built up through the first half of the game, like in terms of having some kind of connection with him. For the boss fight to be what it was okay, but just disappointing. I wish there was like multiple stages to the boss fight, maybe better dialogue during the boss fight. So honestly a little underwhelming. And then finally, the Hybrid Commander. Now, the Hybrid Commander is the most unique fight in this game, as you're not really trying to beat him. This is an objective boss fight, kind of. It's just to flip all the switches. He's throwing xenosites. He can hit you when you get close to him. There's tubes that you can hit to kind of hit him, stun him, so you can flip the anti-gravity switch or flip the switches on the wall. I like the concept because it's like, hey, I can't even beat this guy right now. We're just focused on this mission. Let's focus on that. It lets the stakes feel high, especially with like, I can't even fuck with this thing. Cannot fight this guy right now. Focus on the mission, save the people, don't let the coast get frozen. But it was too easy to like be good. I just was Jet Ray, zoomed around. I even stopped fighting xenosites. Just kept dodging. Just zoomed around, flipped switches, dipped. Fight was over. So again, another underwhelming boss fight in the game. Saying that too many times. So overall, the Ben part of the gameplay is genuinely great. While maybe a little repetitive, there only being 5 aliens when it should be 10. The Gwyn sections were okay. The Kevin parts were genuinely terrible. And then underwhelming boss fights. I think I have 7 out of 10 written here. I think I'm sitting here thinking, I think I have to drop it to a 6 out of 10. I liked playing as Ben, and that's what carries it to be okay, be good on the you know, the surviving head above water to not be at least a 5. But man, playing as Kevin sucked. All the boss fights were underwhelming. Well, most of them at least were underwhelming. I've decided to give this gameplay for this game a 6 out of 10. I always like to take a look at the voice cast during these videos, and this one's obviously going to be a good one because it's the same ones for this, you know, primetime Cartoon Network TV show, so it's a good cast. And the performances shine through, so let's just run through the cast. Starting off with Yuri Lowenthal, who is Ben Tennyson. He was also He-Man in He-Man Masters of the Universe. That's what you thought I was going to bring up, right? We have Ashley Johnson as Gwen Tennyson, who is Terra in Teen Titans Go. Greg Sipes, I hope I'm saying that right. Greg Sipes as Kevin Levin, who is Beast Boy in Teen Titans Go, Young Justice. He is the voice of Beast Boy. D. Bradley Baker, who voiced all playable aliens, which makes me wonder if that had anything to do with it being 5 aliens, if that had anything to do with it being these 5 aliens. I don't know. I didn't check. I probably should have checked. That lagged. Probably should have checked to see if he voiced the other aliens, but my bad. He was also the Pickaxe aliens and the DNA aliens, and as well as Perry the Platypus in Phineas and Ferb. Then we have Paul Elding as Max Tennyson, as well as the security system, and he was Perceptor in Transformers the movie. And then we have John DiMaggio. See this guy all the time on this series. John DiMaggio was Gorvin and Volcanus, and he is Lobo in Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 3. And then we have Kevin Michael Richardson as the Hybrid Commander and the Forever Night Ninja. He was P-Biggie in Hoodwinked. Love that movie. I do feel the need to point out, I think besides like We Play, or just a game that didn't really have voice acting, one man had been in every single one. I genuinely think, maybe there's one out there I'm forgetting, but I really think he'd been in every single Wii Vault in the voice cast. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Blum is not in this voice cast, and it feels like something's missing because we don't have Steve. We don't have Steve. John DiMaggio is another man. John DiMaggio, I think maybe might also be in like every one except for like We Play and maybe one other. So he might have just tied up with Steve Blum for being in all the videos. Might have to give him some more love. I've showed Steve Blum a lot of love just because he's been in fucking everything here. But that's it for this wonderful voice cast. So, Ben 10, Alien Force, the video game, did a great job of feeling just like the TV show and allowing you to play as 5 unique aliens with great voice performances, good character and level design, and while held back by the game being repetitive, underwhelming boss fights, and Gwen sections and the Kevin sections just outright sabotaging the game, I'm going to give it a very solid 7 out of 10. I think this game was good, obviously. Should it come back? Not in like a remake. Does it hold up today? Probably not. Probably not. But to expound upon this, should it come back? I think I wouldn't mind like a cheap, because this feels arcade style, really. If there was like a $10 Ben 10 game in this fashion, I think that would be a great idea. Should a fucking full price game be made in this vein? Absolutely not. In no way. But let's go ahead and take a look at the next video in this series. But that's going to do it for this one. If you've played this game and you have your opinions on it, let me know down in the comments below what you agreed with most, what you disagreed with most, what you remember from this game, and what other game you want me to do in this series. But if you can go ahead and like this video, subscribe, because I got a lot more coming. Thank you again so much for watching, and as always, keep gaming.